maybe it's a show just about like the different smells and tastes of other people's vomit.
Gosh.
That sounds like a show that I wouldn't even want to watch.
Wellington Paranormal is Ghostbusters meets Cops, Bad Boys.
Bad Boys. Wellington Paranormal is yet another spin-off of the movie What We Do in the Shadows.
Wellington Paranormal. What is a paranormal show?
Where's the lie?
Yes.
No lies detected.
Truth. All truth.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Fallingtower's Watch the First podcast in which we tell the truth. And we watch the first episode of a series so that you don't have to. With us, as always, also very paranormal, Michael Kenyon Rosenberg.
Ooh.
And joining us today, a very special guest, huge online presence, actress, and she's very, I guess, cops. Melissa Longo. She's Bad Boys.
What you gonna do? What you gonna do if I come for you?
Scary. If you'd like us to review a show, everybody, in the comments below, tell us what show you would like us to review. Say WTF X-Files, that stands for Watch the First, or WTF My Little Pony. No, don't say My Little Pony, because we really, really, really don't want to do My Little Pony. All right, if 10 people in the comments below say WTF My Little Pony, we'll think about it, because we've had a lot of people suggesting My Little Pony.
Maybe.
And we've been pushing it off for a very long time. So if we get 10 people in the comments to demand it, like banging down the door, then maybe.
We'll think about it then.
But basically, Mike's going to, Mike will decide one way or the other. So you better let him know.
Convince me. Send me chocolates, vegan chocolates, or flowers, or fun messages telling me about how much you love me. And
or just in the comments below, say WTF My Little Pony. All right.
Yeah, that's another way to do that.
Let's get to it. Here we go. So the first thing we do is we make predictions. And as everybody knows, this is my favorite game of the day, because Michael and I have known each other for over 20 years.
What?
If
that can't be right.
If we were a candy bar, we would be score. Okay. So we can usually predict safely if the other fellow liked it or didn't like it. And everybody at home, please, in the comments below or in the live chat, make your predictions. Do you think I liked it? Do you think Michael liked it? Do you think Melissa liked it? Also, I want to know why Michael calls this a spinoff, because I didn't really get spinoff. I got similar. Maybe you could tell us in a second. I'm going to predict Michael liked it because he likes everything by Taika Waititi. He loved What We Do in the Shadows. He says it's like a spinoff of that, but I don't think it's a spinoff of that. It might be a spinoff of the movie preceding it. And that's what
I said.
Yeah. So I didn't see the movie, so I don't really know. But I think Michael liked it, but I think he liked it less than the What We Do in the Shadows series. I think Melissa was medium on it. And I think Michael, what do you think?
I think Ryan I think he liked it. I think because I know Ryan, I know him. And one thing that I know about him is he likes the little offhand jokes, the little jokes that aren't like punch you in the face, but it's just like an offhand comment that somebody makes that's kind of funny. And those are his favorite jokes in a show. And this show is packed with those kinds of jokes. Melissa, I think she liked it, but a little bit less because it's not as in your face as What We Do in the Shadows, who she also joined us for when we did that show, What We Do in the Shadows. And
make sure to check that out. Go to our Fallingtower page and watch What We Do in the Shadows with a reunion of the three of us. Please continue. Sorry.
Yay.
Watch the first What We Do in the Shadows. So those are my predictions.
Mm-hmm. That episode premiered on May 19th, 2021, and we're not going to tell you how it turned out, but it was an excellent show. Our episode was excellent. We're not going to tell you what we thought of the other thing. Melissa, what are your predictions?
I predict that Michael was extremely disappointed. No, I'm just kidding.
I was excited by this bold prediction.
A bold prediction.
Yeah.
And Ryan,
yes,
I think he might have been entertained by some of the moments.
Okay.
All right.
Not a dazzling prediction, but a soft one. All right. I was partially entertained somewhat. All right. So everybody at home, now that you've gotten some really good hints, feel free to lock in your votes now. Do you think I liked it? Melissa liked it. Michael liked it. And Michael's going to buy you a little bit of time. Now's your chance.
Sergeant Marker and officers Minnow and O'Leary are members of the Wellington, New Zealand Police. Their job is to investigate paranormal phenomena. Okay, I'm not going to do my terrible New Zealand accent. In this episode, officers Minnow and O'Leary bring in what appears to be a projectile vomiting drunk teenager. Sergeant Marker delves deeper and invites the officers to join his paranormal unit.
Gross. All right. So that's it, guys. I hope you had enough time to make your predictions because you're about to start finding out what we really thought about this thing. Now we're going to compare and contrast what we expected before watching it versus what we got when we actually watched it. Michael, before you watched... hell yeah. Before you watched episode 1 of Wellington Paranormal, entitled Demon Girl, what did you expect?
I expected great things. This show has been out in New Zealand since like 2018, I believe. And it just recently went over to the UK, and it was just even more recently released here in the US. And I follow a couple people named Jermaine Clement and Taika Waititi on Twitter, and they've been hyping it up, and I've heard some good things being said about the show. So I was actually very excited when the show came to the US on the CW, and airs the next day on HBO Max. So I was very excited and very interested to see this. It was a spinoff. The two cops, Minnow and O'Leary, are in the movie What We Do in the Shadows. And so Excellent. This show follows them.
Perfect. Love it. Okay, good. Mochi's butt makes an appearance. Melissa, what did you expect before you watched this, if anything?
I had no expectations.
All right. By Mochi's butt.
No expectations, because I hadn't heard of it before you mentioned it. So, yeah. I expected paranormal, because that was in the title.
Good expectation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what I expected. I expected another dumbass Michael show. He likes stupid crap. Like, what was that British one? Not Red. I mean, Red Dwarf is beyond.
That was a great show. Yeah.
Spaced,
Red Dwarf.
Red Dwarf.
Shows,
he probably likes Faulty Towers too.
I don't think I've really seen that much Faulty Towers.
Anyway,
I like John Cleese.
Michael and I think have different taste in shows.
So Ryan doesn't like things that are good. Is the point he's trying to make?
Yeah, I kind of like bad things sometimes too. So anyway, the point, no, but honestly, I didn't expect much. He said it was a spin-off of What We Do in the Shadows. And spoilers, don't listen if you haven't seen it. We kind of all enjoyed What We Do in the Shadows. So I expected this to be pretty unspoiler. Come on back, guys. Come on back. So I expected this to be pretty good. And I knew what kind of humor to expect because I'd seen the other one and it was the same dudes, presumably, doing it. So I expected that similar humor, which I enjoyed. I think that's about it. But that's what we expected. Michael, give it to us. There's no way we actually got something as good as what you expected, or am I wrong?
Yeah, I really liked it. I mean, here's the thing. Taika was not really involved in this show beyond the creation of the characters.
Mm-hmm.
But Jermaine took the show, created it, and ran with it. And so I love Jermaine. I love Flight of the Conchords, WTF Flight of the Conchords. Somebody, please. It's also on HBO. And so we can watch that because that's Jermaine. And then his band partner, Brett McKenzie. And so they're a band in New York. It's a comedy band like Tenacious D.
Oh.
And yeah, that's how I had first heard of Jermaine and those guys. And then I found out about Taika, who actually directed 2 episodes of Flight of the Conchords. And I think the first movie that I saw with Taika that he had directed was What We Do in the Shadows. I remember seeing a trailer for it and seeing Jermaine was in it and seeing, and hey, it looks pretty funny. It's like a vampire documentary in New Zealand. It looks pretty good. And so I watched that and fell in love with it. And then learned that Taika was a director and started watching some of his other things that he directed. But this show is a Jermaine baby. And like I said, I've been following Jermaine. Taika mentions it sometimes too, just because they're buddies. They're old improv buddies from back in New Zealand. So Taika helps to promote it as well. But everybody seemed to love the show, and I did as well. I loved it.
Wow. High praise. Melissa, what did you actually get?
I got a funny and entertaining adventure. I honestly didn't expect it to take place in New Zealand, but I kind of like that it did because it gives a different kind of, I don't know, kind of feel. But she's funny, and quirky, and
yeah,
and and I love and I enjoy the subtleties.
She's self-censoring. All right. Well, I'll tell you what I got. I too, Melissa, was surprised when I was like, oh, what is this? Some New Zealand stuff? What the crap? But then I was like, oh wait, Wellington, isn't that like the capital of New Zealand? It's kind of like if somebody in France sees something and it's called like Washington, D.C. Paranormal. And they're all like, what is this crap in America? And we're like, well, what do you think it's called Washington, D.C. Paranormal? What do you expect? But anyway, so, dummy on me. But yeah, I was surprised by that. And they do, that New Zealand accent. I've known some good old fashioned New Zealanders. I've known quite a few of those Kiwis out there, and they're a good bunch. And that accent never fails to astound me as to how strangely they pronounce things, especially like their E's, like like my brother Eric, they always call him Eric. And I'm like, why are you calling him Eric? That's not even his name. Why are you even saying it like that? And they're like, oh, Eric. Like,
oh, Eric.
No, it's
Eric.
Eric. It's like a searing knife of a word. Eric. Anyway, so what I got was, yeah, it was funny. It was okay. It was I liked it somewhat. It was enjoyable. That's what I got.
Well, there's a I think funny joke on Flight of the Conchords So it's Jermaine and his partner, his band partner Brett, but then they call him Britt. What are you saying, Britt? What's your name, Britt? No, no. Oh, my name is Britt. So what? Your name's Britt. Oh, no, Britt. So I don't know. So
See,
that is the thing that they do. Eric, I can see that. Oh, Eric over here. Eric.
So now, and yeah, every word they basically just mispronounce. It's not an accent. They just mispronounce all the words, and I think they do it on purpose. I think they think they're better than us. So
they are, yeah.
But let's move into the beginning of the show, because I thought the intro was very good, and I thought the theme song was fantastic.
Yes. Yeah.
Like okay, there are a few quick things. Number one, I was like, whoa, in the first 3 seconds, you're already in the show. There's no leaning into it slowly. There's no like in a world. There's no like 1989. There's no nothing. It's like after 3 seconds, I already had to rewind because I missed stuff. Like I pushed play. I looked over here and I was like, whoa. This show really jumps in. It just really, so that was really cool. I thought that was great. You're just immediately watching something and you're not being set up for anything. And it was only a 2-minute intro, but it worked great. And it right away made me feel like, reminded me of Ghostbusters, the original 1984 or whatever movie that I love so much. And that is, I think, the most quotable movie ever. And so I was very happy about that. And then it goes into the theme song, which was fun and exciting. And like, I don't know, it's just
a little eerie and
it was really exciting. So in those first 2 minutes and 33 seconds, I was pumped. I was excited. And I was like, thank you, Mike. And it's only 20 minutes. You get me.
Yeah. And then right away it starts out and this girl is vomiting like gallons of vomit in the street. And
that wasn't real puke, by the way.
Yeah, it smelled like sulfur. But then you've got the relationship between the two cops to me is just hilarious too. You got O'Leary comes up and she's like, she like yells over to her partner, "Oh, Minot, a little assistance over here." And he responds on the radio. He's like, "Oh, on my way. Where are you?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm right over here."
Behind you.
Those kinds of little, yeah, those kind of little banter that's just hilarious to me.
Yeah. Melissa, how did you feel about the first couple minutes? Were you gripped? Were you hooked? Were you like, whatever? Were you eating a fruit salad and just kind of half paying attention?
Bazual of the unholy realm.
I think Michael enjoyed it.
Maybe right.
No, it got me into it right away. It felt right away to me like a mix of Cops and X-Files. And I'm just like, yes. Well, not that I watch Cops. I don't watch Cops, but I like parodies that kind of poke fun at cops. But the TV show.
Okay.
And then although I have to say that I'm never impressed by vomit. I don't like watching it ever. Never, ever, ever, ever,
but
ever.
Do you like hearing it splatter?
No.
Like what's the worst part about the vomit? Is it seeing it? Is it hearing it when it because you hear the sound, but then you hear the splat? Or is it the smell? Is it the
At least
smell?
You don't have to. I was gonna say, at least you don't have to smell it.
Yeah. Or is it, if you're the one doing it, the taste?
Ew. All of the above.
Oh, okay. I think it's the smell.
All equally.
The smell is the worst for me because the smell. If you smell somebody else's vomit, that'll make you want to vomit.
Ew.
Yeah, it's like a yawn, but way less enjoyable. It's like when somebody else yawns, you're like, oh, now I'm gonna yawn. But with puke, you're like, it's like you hear the splatter and then you smell it. It's just...
All right, let's move on. I think let's move on to the next topic.
Yeah.
All right, one final thought on the vomit talk, since you guys brought it up. There was something that said, I can't remember who said it or what it was, but it was like all the people that, they hit their alarm clock like 50 times before they actually get out of bed. But if you made an alarm clock that sounded like a cat's about to throw up on your rug, we would all jump if freaking immediately, because it's true. It doesn't matter. You could be in the middle of the deepest sleep. If you hear that, like we just jump up and we're like, so I think that was pretty astute, whoever that was.
Move them onto the hardwood. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Gross.
That's very true. Whoever said that, very true.
Yeah. A+ for that person. All right. So did we cover enough puke stuff, Melissa?
Oh, too much.
Okay. All right. Well, let's just talk about our favorite characters. This is something Michael likes to ask all the time. And I know he already has his answer prepared because he knew this was coming. Michael, who was your favorite character in Wellington Paranormal Stuff show?
Well, I did really like Officer O'Leary. Like when she gets stuck on the fence, that was just hilarious. But my favorite has to be Sergeant Maka. He's hilarious. And so like he's got this PIN number to open the room to the paranormal unit. He's like, oh, I've got a PIN number. So he's like, he enters it, one number, beep. And then the guy's like
5.
O'Leary's like 5, and he's like, shh. And then so no, I've got more numbers. Beep, boop, boop. And then there was like another line that he says, like, he's like, I'm what does he say? Something like, I don't joke around at work. After work, I've got like a conversational observational type of. So he wants to joke around, and then at the end of the show, he says, "Oh, I've got a surprise for you. It's almost 6, and then I've got a really good joke for you." And the guy starts laughing. But he's like, "I haven't told the joke yet." He's a funny. He's kind of like the dim-witted sergeant character, and he's hilarious to me.
Mm-hmm.
Any character that's supposed to be playing like a dimwit is just hilarious.
A little bit more that reminded me of Ghostbusters was when you said the Bazual. That was totally like, there is no Dana, only Zool.
Zool.
Bazual of the unholy realm.
Melissa, who is your favorite character? Everybody's dying to know, by the way.
I was trying to figure that out because they've all got their own special qualities. I like Minot when he said robot.
They're like, oh, what could cause her to do that? And then O'Leary's
drugs.
Like drugs, and he's like, oh, I was gonna say robot.
I thought robot.
That was pretty good. And then also when the dog started talking to him, he's like, "You're a bad dog." That was pretty funny. Sergeant Maka is funny too. I liked that he only had one number in his PIN.
Number.
But I'm gonna go with O'Leary.
Yeah.
Because she's kind of the straight man, but not.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, I don't know.
She's got some of the best lines for sure.
Yeah, she's got some really good lines.
Here's another word that they mispronounce, I should say. Instead of eggs, they said eegs, just like the Eric. Eeg. Yeah, they're like eegs.
Eeg.
Like there's like 5 E's in that word. Eegs. I'll tell you, honestly, there are really only 3 main characters, and really only 3 characters that had a lot of work, a lot of camera time, and a lot of lines. And I kind of thought maybe Maka, who sounds like a delicious caffeinated green powder drink. No, that's matcha.
Matcha.
He, I thought maybe he was it, but then when you were just reminding us of the funny lines that Minogue was saying, I was like, oh yeah, those were pretty funny. And so since Michael said Maka, Melissa said O'Leary, I guess I'm going to say Minogue just to give everybody a point, because they all have very similar voices from the writers to me so far in this first episode. It seems like they're very similar in their jokes and their delivery and the way that they write them. So I'm going to go with him. So we covered them all.
All right. I knew we could do it.
By the way, is he like a Maori or something like that, right?
Oh, seems like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like Minot maybe even have a little Maori in him, but
yeah, totally. Anyway,
but Maka seems like he's like full on Maori.
Mm-hmm. He knows the
Haka. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So a funny line, by the way, before we move on to something else after the drugs, and he says, I thought robot, was when she says, oh, look check this out. And he goes, oh, matching shirts. We could do that. And she says,
we do that every day.
Right. And that was a funny response because remember, like a not as good writer or a less seasoned writer would have her go like, you idiot, we do, or something like that. But this was just a very subtle way to just be like, oh, we do that every day. Like, like she's also dumb, but just less dumb, you know? And that also makes it funny. So it's kind of like a punchline on top of a punchline. Minogue looks like Clive Owen to me, by the way. What were you saying, Melissa?
I was just gonna say another funny moment was when Minogue and O'Leary were in the interrogation room, and Minogue was like, "Go do your bad cop." Yeah. She goes over to the table and says, "Stop that now."
It's a little scary. It's a
little scary. Oh yeah, that was classic O'Leary.
All right. So, Michael, since you wanted to watch this so bad and since you loved it so much, tell us what you liked about this show.
The humor, for sure. I mean, just this kind of dry, subtle humor it's one of my favorites, really. It's like it reeks of Monty Python. It reeks of a lot of these British types of humors. Reeks of obviously Flight of the Conchords, because
did you just call Monty Python subtle? Monty Python is
a lot of it.
Well, you've seen more than I have.
Yeah, some of it is. Casual, observational. That's quite a lot of vomit for a quite small person. These kind of funny, subtle lines. There was one poster that I saw in the background in the police station that says, "Mates don't punch mates." Yeah, it's just kind of like they're polite. Everything that they do is polite, yes. But then like kind of like the example that Melissa gave when she's like doing her bad cop. She's, please stop that. It's quite scary. Yeah, like she's just trying to be polite, but then she's trying to put the smack down too. So I think that's what I love about the show so much, is it's got that very dry, subtle humor, not sly dreadle, dry, subtle humor.
Too. Yeah,
dry, sly, and subtle.
We do like. I think it's funnier when people are polite. Because, it's just, the over to the top stuff, it definitely has its place. But when you have this subtle thing of the person that's trying to be polite, then a lot of times it just makes it funnier somehow, some way. It's kind of counterintuitive because people think that like louder or meaner or uglier is funnier. But sometimes just the person that's being super polite, that's just like, oh, I don't really like it as much,
Pardon me.
Yeah, it's and the way they're super clueless in how they talk to the ghosts or the demons, and they're just like, oh, that's strange. They all have the same name, even the dog.
Right.
And,
even the dog.
Let's run in the family.
Yeah, they're just trying to piece it all together, and they're just like, oh boy, this is really interesting, and everything is just very on the surface, and they're completely clueless, and that just adds to the humor, I think.
Maka says, I did some research on this Bazual. I googled
it.
Yeah. Or when, yes, also very funny is when dude's about to get tossed in the lake of fire, and they're pulling up some YouTube tutorial on how to do, an exorcism. And that was very funny because we know exactly what he's doing when he's holding his phone and going like, oh, okay, hang on. And then you hear the little voice telling him.
It's buffering.
Yeah. I'm prepaid. I guess that's a New Zealander joke. I'm prepaid. I'm like, okay, haha.
No, he doesn't have a plan. He prepays his phone.
Well, his plan was to check on YouTube.
Yeah. He doesn't have a phone plan.
Obvious. Obs.
Now, this is the time of day when we say, Malissa Longo, what was your favorite part of the episode?
Oh, gosh. Yeah, there was some gems in this. And I mentioned a couple that I already really liked. When she was done interrogating, when she went, yes, being back. That was her celebration. The part when Minot was saying, you're a bad dog. He was very hurt. And then back to the politeness of it when Minogue is going after the mom who is now possessed. He's like, excuse me, you're not meant to be running in the playground. That's pretty funny. That's what he's, angry about. Running in the playground. And I do like the part where they're YouTubing the exorcism. That's pretty funny.
What about the part when they're waiting for the bucket of blood to drop? And they're like, now.
Yeah.
What? Now.
And what's funny about that is that there was no reason for them to be doing that. Like, she was just like, oh, somebody just kind of said, oh, it'll probably drop right about now. And it didn't work. So then they're like, oh, well, now. And that was very funny. I also thought it was really funny when O'Leary is hanging on the fence, which, again, a less seasoned writer would just end the gag there or something like that. But what was funny about it is how she's trying to just discuss it with a straight face and saying, yeah, this is, something that happens sometimes. And, what appears to have happened, it's just like this.
Actually, she says, this doesn't usually happen to me.
Right.
And then she calls Minogue and she's like, oh, are you stuck on the fence again?
Right. Yeah. I'm talking about the way she was describing it, as if she was just describing like, oh, we found this pencil on the ground here. And so we put it here. And she just had like a very standard way of describing this rather than like embarrassed or angry or laughing or, or what most shows would do is just cut out that part. Right. because it's boring. She's just talking about like, oh, here I am, But I thought that was funny.
It was a very matter of fact, very police way of explaining what happened.
Yeah. And then she said, I just didn't get the job done. just couldn't do it. Couldn't get over that fence.
All right. But we all know that this is the part that everybody was afraid was going to happen. And it is now. What was your least favorite part of this show? I know.
My least favorite part of the show.
And you can't say when it ended.
Is that it ended and there was no more show to watch. That's it. I mean, I loved it. Every minute of it. Melissa, I know Ryan's got a least favorite part that he's dying to tell us.
Now Melissa has to pick two least favorite moments to make up for Michael's loss of one.
I'm gonna say when the girl started vomiting, and then when the girl continued vomiting, the excess vomiting and too much. Yuck.
I can tell you what my wife did not like about the show.
Okay.
And that's all the creepy stuff. You know, the guy's head spinning around, the girl climbing
yeah.
up the wall and being super creepy. And so it's a hard sell for my wife because she doesn't like creepy stuff.
Yeah, you know, actually there were some pretty good moments in the creepy vein, you know, like it wasn't just fully comedy. There was actually like when the guy's neck was twisting around, I think we all kind of cringed a little bit. When the girl started crawling like up the wall, like The Grudge or whatever, like I actually found myself kind of going like, whoa, you know, that's pretty weird, or that's pretty creepy.
And then sticking her face in the camera. That was kind of creepy.
Oh, I also thought they get major kudos for that one scene that showed the 4 camera shots. And it showed
the security cameras. Yeah.
Right. It basically told a story in the 4 cameras. Like you're watching here and your eyes automatically going over here. And then you're watching this and then they're going over here chasing after them. That was really smart. I thought that was maybe the smartest thing because it was like a little 1-minute story kind of, you know?
Mm-hmm. Very clever.
I don't have a least favorite.
Sounds like we all
either.
love the show.
I don't have a least favorite part either. Just Melissa did because she's a downer, I guess. All right. Speaking of which, Melissa, this is it. This is the moment we've all been waiting for. Starting now, it's time to talk about you.
Wow.
I know. Who knew, right? Yeah. So who knew that was coming? Basically, today we're going to talk about your ever-present and growing online presence. You have an online store. You are one of the members of the 7th Rule family. You are one of the members of the virtual TrekCon team. You're going to be on a show with the SciFiistas coming up in August. Tell us about all of them in alphabetical order.
That's 4 things.
Whoa. Alphabetical order.
It would be 7th Rule, but technically the title is the 7th Rule.
Yeah, V, we have a T, we have an S. Walking, and a W is walking hard, so that's W. Okay, so
yeah,
boy, they're all at the end. Okay, so start with the SciFiistas.
So Yvette Blackman, who is part of the 7th Rule family as well.
Yes, when we love her.
Yes, we do. Reached out to me and said, would you like to be on our show, the SciFiistas podcast? And I'm like, yeah. So I'm supposed to be on August 6th. So I don't know too much of what to expect, but we're going to talk a lot of Trek, a lot of Star Trek.
Well, this is easy for everybody at home. Check out the SciFiistas. Look them up on Facebook, Twitter, or anywhere you follow things.
Spotify. I think they're maybe on Apple Music too, like all the cool podcast places.
Right. And they will prompt you and let you know, Sistas with an AS, not an ER. And sci-fi like the TV channel, not like the film genre. So check them out and they will give you the exact details, but it's August 6th and you will see Melissa being a guest on their show on August 6th.
Well, you'll hear that. Yeah. They do an audio podcast, right? Is that when you're recording it with them or is that when it's going live?
That's when I'm recording it. I think it's supposed to go live before.
Oh, before that? It's going to go live before that. Okay.
Before Vegas.
Okay.
The convention in Vegas.
So sometime in the next few days. So sometime between August 6th and 10th-ish. Also everybody at home, we've had a couple of the SciFiistas as guests on our show. We've had Tamia Harper and Sabrina Wood, good friends of our show. Yep. Tell us about your involvement with the 7th Rule, Malissa Longo, if you want.
Well, yes, I love the 7th Rule. It's amazing. And it's been such a light in a really difficult time. Starting with, the loss of my husband, who was the one who started the 7th Rule, and Aaron Eisenberg, and then the amazing continuation by Ryan and Sirach, and their having me involved has been wonderful. I can't say enough about it.
Try. No, I'm just kidding. No, but we love having you on the show so much, and the entire team, all of our associate producers as well, and all of our viewers, everybody loves having you, and they all rally around you, and it's so cool to see how much they support you and love you, and give you a million likes every time you post a picture of Mochi. I mean, your cat's cute, but we know what's up. So yeah, that's really cool having you on the show. What about your involvement with Virtual TrekCon? Now, the three of us were part of Virtual TrekCon along with Sirach Lofton, Scott Baker, Anne-Marie Siegel, Katie Nicolau, and Mohammed Noor.
Yeah.
But how much fun did you have being a part of Virtual TrekCon?
Oh my gosh.
So much.
She can answer for herself, Fran.
But I liked my answer.
I liked it this much.
Okay, she can't. No more answering for herself, Michael. See, this is what happens. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Sorry about that.
Okay, maybe this much. No, I'm just no. It was such a wonderful, wonderful time. But it was about that much, maybe a little bit more.
Yeah, my arms don't go that far.
So. And so many magical moments. It sounds kind of cheesy to say, but there were so many magical moments with so many great guests and so many new friends too. And it was also a light in a very dark time. So it brought people together when we couldn't get together. So, and it was free to everyone, which made it accessible. So it made it very special.
Mm-hmm. Now, Fallingtower was co-hosting Virtual TrekCon. Fallingtower and the Seventh Rule basically combined forces and put this giant, amazing thing together. Everybody at home, if you don't know what Virtual TrekCon is, we just had our 1-year anniversary for the first Virtual TrekCon. Since then, we've done Virtual TrekCon 2 and Virtual TrekCon 12 Days of Content. Basically, this first convention is the biggest and most incredible virtual convention ever put on in the history of the world. Seriously, why don't we have our own Wikipedia page? We need to check on that. Because this is something that's never been done before. It was 6 days of virtual content, of live videos, of Star Trek interviews and panels, 35 celebrity guests, 6 days, 13 hours streaming per day with games and interviews and panels and events. I mean, never been done before and has not been done since. So check it out, virtualtrekcon.com, or anywhere on social media, like facebook.com/virtualtrekcon, twitter.com/virtualtrekcon. Check it out. You'll be glad you did. You can still watch everything for free. It's all still there, all the calendars and the links and the schedules. No Wikipedia yet, Michael?
No, if anybody edits Wikipedia, get on that, please.
How can we have something that's bigger and greater than anything that's ever happened in the history of the world? Also, the direction that the world is going to go into, like more virtual things and stuff like that. I mean, we gotta let's call it what it is. We're the first. Hey,
and
we watched the first. We are the first.
And I think it was the first to be fully fan interactive. So fans could interact while things were happening,
right?
And
really
free.
Great. And a lot of people said, there were two things that we heard the most. Number one was they said this felt more like a convention than any other virtual thing ever because of because literally every single aspect of it was fan interactive. And the other thing we heard that we didn't expect was all of the people that have never been to a convention because they couldn't, whether they're disabled or whether they're ill or whether they don't have the money or they're too old. They said, thank you for making this for us because we've never been able to go to a convention and we never will be able to. Or someone was saying they had so many children to take care of. And that's something we didn't expect. And so that was really cool. They got to finally have that interactive convention experience that we all take for granted. And we were able to provide that. Really cool, really awesome. Melissa, finally, what was the...
Walking art made by Melissa.
Oh yeah, your awesome website. Let's hear about it.
Yes, I
have .com.
Yeah, I do have a website, Walking Art made by Melissa. The concept is to make art functional so that you can wear it, like this shirt is an original. And so the content runs the gamut from t-shirts to bags to figurines to jewelry to hats to, there's a lot of stuff, and maybe some toddler stuff coming soon.
Whoa, yeah. Check this out, everybody at home. So you have shirts like this. This is an Aaron Eisenberg signature thing that he would always put when he would sign pictures and things like that. We've got dream catchers. We've got
we got that
Trekkins. We've got Trekkins, which are Star Trek characters.
Yes.
My wife bought that dream catcher, by the way.
Oh,
yes, fun. I did see that, and I hope we got
it. Yeah, we love it.
Awesome.
So all kinds of fun stuff. We'll include the link for that in the description box below. So everybody, please check that out. That's Walking Art made by Melissa.com. You'll be glad you did. And we'll be glad you did. But now it is time for Terrible Twos.
Bottom line.
Also known as the bottom line. It's the final two questions of the show. Terrible Twos / bottom line, but mostly the Terrible Twos. Question number one.
Only known as the bottom line, yeah.
Question number one is, on a scale of 1 to 10, Michael Kenyon Rosenberg, what would you give this first episode of Wellington Paranormal? Here we go. It's going to be a high one.
I'm interested to know what I gave What We Do in the Shadows, because I don't remember. Don't tell me yet. I know you'll be looking it up, because I'm giving this show a 9.5. 9.5.
Wow.
9.5. This is
zip
This
zing.
is a great show, in my opinion. Very hilariously funny. I love it, and that's all I'll say for now.
That is spoiler. Don't listen if you don't want to know what he rated What We Do in the Shadows. You gave What We Do in the Shadows only a 9. You gave this a 9.5. Okay, come on back. But of course, if people are listening to hear me say spoilers and come on back, they also heard what.
So that's what I had thought, because actually I had watched What We Do in the Shadows before and then rewatched it for this podcast and thought some of the jokes weren't as funny. But I actually watched this first episode twice as well. I watched it last week when it first premiered, and then I watched it for this podcast again, and I found the jokes just as funny. So I had to rate it high.
Yeah, it's fun that you watched it twice as well as the other time. Melissa, on a scale
as Wellington.
Twice
as Wellington.
I like that. Melissa, what would you give this on a scale of 1 to 10? The first episode, only entitled Demon Girl.
I'm gonna go with a 7.7. I would have gone with a 7.8 had it not been for all the vomiting.
Vomit.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Next time we have Melissa on the show, we've got to find a show with a ton of vomit just to see how low she can go with her numbers. Like maybe it's a
No.
show just about like the different smells and tastes of other people's
Oh my
vomit.
gosh.
That sounds
You
like a
just
show
wanna
that I wouldn't
torture
even
me.
want to watch.
You know, let me tell you guys a quick story about vomit.
Okay.
One time when I was a kid, my family and we went to the beach.
Oh, I think this is probably a throw up story, so I don't think we really want to hear this.
No, it's okay. And I guess one of our dogs, Annabelle, she wasn't the smartest. She drank a lot of the seawater apparently. So in the car, on the way back, she vomits on the floor of the back seat. And of course, me being a child, I laughed quite a bit. And quite a bit, you know. It was gross, but I laughed quite a bit. My parents were like, stop laughing. I don't know why. I guess they thought I shouldn't be laughing because they're thinking we got to clean this shit up and this kid's laughing his ass off. So now they decided to punish me for laughing so much by making me clean it. Now I know that it was just a trick, just so because they didn't want to clean it. They're like, well, we need to teach them a lesson not to laugh. I'm like, what does that even mean? No. So I got to clean this. And it was like a big chunk of, it was like oatmeal or something, right? I guess, no, it's probably dog food. And so I'm sitting there trying to figure out how to clean it. So I go in the backyard and I find one of those like gardening tools, the one that's like 3-finger kind of things that like scrape, because I need to like scoop it, right? So I'm trying to, you know what I'm talking about, the thing that's like 3 fingers. And
yes.
So I get that and I kind of scoop it out and like fling it onto the ground or whatever. But here's the point of the story. It stopped being funny when I pushed down on, it's like carpeting. I pushed down on it and like juice came up.
Oh my god!
And I smelled it and juice came like bubbling up like like a bunch of little old faithfuls. Anyway, that made me gag and then I was traumatized. Anyway, so the point is that I would give this episode a 7. That's the point of that story.
Okay.
Anyway, and it was so the
I'm traumatized.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. I can still picture it. I was maybe like 7 or 8. The final question is, and the most important is, for the purposes of this podcast, we all had to watch the first episode of Wellington Paranormal. But now that the podcast is over and we're free to move about the internet, Michael Kenyon Rosenberg, would you watch the second epised of your own?
Now I'll tell you a little story. When I was probably about 7 or 8 years old, we were driving home. We used to go to this place called Sea Ranch up on the coast.
Yeah, that's fun. Yeah, good.
And like the road there is just very windy to get there and get home. So we were driving home, and like our friends were in a car behind us, and I think maybe it was like the curviness of the road made me not start feels too good. So I stuck my head out the window. And my friend in the car behind me is like, "Oh, hey, Mike's sticking his head out to say hi." And there was just this line of puke down the side of our car that my dad had to wash off. They did not make me clean it off, thankfully, because I was.
So the car behind you didn't actually receive.
No, it was just all on the side of my
Okay,
car.
Good. I thought you meant it was like a stream that,
and on
like
the
they
road,
poked their head out. We're like, oh,
no, it was pretty thick also, so it kind of stuck to the side of the car. But the point is that I would watch the next episode of this series. The next episode is available. I haven't watched it yet because I wanted to stay true to this show and only watch the first of things. But I am very eager to watch the second. I'll probably have to watch it on my own, because my wife isn't into the creepy stuff like I mentioned, but I will be watching the second episode. The second season of this show is already out in New Zealand and will be coming soon to the US after the first season premieres. And they're actually just started filming season 3 as well. So
wow, look at that. That's great news. Melissa, would you watch the second of your own volition? Oh, it's a toughie.
Assuming that there's not throw up in the second one too. So.
Well, we don't know that.
I would watch the next episode, even if there was. I can close my eyes if there's some kind of warning.
Only for a moment, but the moment's gone.
Yeah.
All right. Wow, what a deal. Well,
Dust in the wind.
see, he knows it. Kansas.
All we are is dust in the wind. Ryan.
No, I would not watch the second episode of this.
Oh, so surprising.
I gave it a 7. I thought it was good. I thought it was funny. I enjoyed it. But when it ended, there was nothing that made me say, I want to watch the second episode.
There was no cliffhanger that made him say he wanted to watch the second.
A lot of times it's a cliffhanger that does it, or it's something that where you're just like so pumped at the end that you're like, I can't wait to see the next one. It's going to be kind of procedural, like separate little episodes, which is fun and easy. I recommend it to anybody. It's only like 21 or 22 minutes long. So it's non-committal, fun, great. I personally would not watch the second episode, but I wouldn't be opposed to watching the second episode. There was nothing I didn't enjoy about it. Everything was fine. Everything was good. It's just,
He just doesn't want to give me the satisfaction of saying that he would watch a second episode of a show that I recommended.
I want to give you the satisfaction of saying it was a good show and I gave it a 7. And I'm not disappointed that we ended up watching it. I was fine with it. I liked it. Yeah. But no, you don't get that satisfaction.
But you hate it. He likes it, but he hated it.
Melissa's like, do you want me to leave you two alone? So, yes. So that's it, everybody. We did it. Thanks, Mochi, for showing up and leaving constantly. Nice butt.
Shoving your butt in Melissa's face.
And headbutting each other. Look at those headbutts. Wowie, wowie. That's it. So if you want us to review a show that you like or hate or haven't watched or just think would be hilarious, except for My Little Pony, look, if 10 people say My Little Pony in the comments below, we'll think about it. But anything but My Little Pony, just say WTF and not My Little Pony. And everybody at home, remember what Michael Kenyon Rosenberg always likes to say.
Wait. You forgot to tell us what this podcast was.
That's what you always like to say. This podcast was normal.
This podcast was paranormal.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what was that?
This podcast was
Pressure's on. Don't panic.
Suspenseful.
Oh, yeah. Now, don't forget what Michael Kenyon Rosenberg likes to say.
Don't forget to register to be an organ donor and watch the first of things.
Yes.